Welcome to the NetsGC pre-show live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. My name is Christian Charisma. While Nets Gaming Crew does not play tonight, we're going to have all 5 players of the team and, of course, general manager and head coach OG King Curt stop by to answer your questions that you may have for the team leading up to their 2 matchups this week in the tip-off, the NBA 2K League's start of season tournament. I appreciate each and every single person that's in the chat right now. Obviously, it's 4:30 p.m. on the East Coast. If you're in the West Coast, a little bit earlier in the day, but we can't thank you enough for stopping by on this stream. The crew rolls deeper every day, and it's because of each and every single one of you. Remember to leave any questions you may have for the team in the chat. Now, before we get into having Curt on stream with me, I do want to take a hot second here to talk about the NetsGC tournament series. The first event being a 1v1 scheduled for April 24. Entry, guys, is only $15, and you can sign up by visiting netsgc.com/tournaments. Now, with that out of the way, let's bring on to the stream general manager and head coach, though he doesn't like to be referred to as a head coach, OG King Curt. Curt, what's up, man? Opening night, opening week. It's always really exciting. How are we feeling? Give me your 2 cents.
No, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I mean, it's been 2 or 3 weeks now. Got some, finally got all my players together. And we've just been making the best of it, learning and growing together day by day. Makes me feel really proud of what we accomplished on draft night. And I think pretty soon, everybody's going to be able to witness firsthand what we've been doing over here.
For sure. What advice have you, like, I know I've asked you this off air, but what advice have you given the team over the last few days as we get closer and closer to NetsGC tip-off?
I mean, some of the keys that I think for us is going to dictate our success is just believing in each other, trusting in each other, and playing for one another. And I think that's the key ingredients for everybody. It's just who can sustain it throughout the season. And how and at what point does it click with your team that what you need to do on a regular basis in order for you to be successful? So for us early, I think we've gotten a lot of kinks out the way. Whatever may be deemed as misunderstandings, and just in the process of getting to know one another. I think we've done a lot of that early. I think I have a mature team this year. I think something that is rather unique, and I know a lot of people may think, a lot of cliche statements and things of that nature. But me personally, I've believed in every team I've had, but I don't think they've always believed in each other. And I think that's the difference in the team that I have right now. It's like I believe in them, they believe in themselves, but they also start to believe in each other. And I think that's ultimately what's going to help make us a different team this year.
Now, one more question before we bring the team on. This is season 5, so year 5 of the NBA 2K League. But for NetsGC and for yourself, Curt, we're entering year 4. And from the moment you entered the league, from the moment NetsGC became a franchise, it's been a steady, incline and improvement year over year. What are you most excited about for season 4 for you?
Well, I think even with that being said, it's like every year is a new challenge. Same goal, just a different challenge. Obviously this year we're coming in with 2 rookies. And I haven't, probably had this many rookies on, on the court at the same time with the amount of talent that these guys have. I think that's the biggest difference. So the challenge, for me early was to get them acclimated to what's it like being in the 2K League, but not only what it's like to be in the NBA 2K League, but what it's like to be in Brooklyn while you're in the 2K League. And I think they came in with a sound mind and body and really ready to do whatever it takes for them, to be successful, but not only them be successful, but for the team to be successful. And I think, having Shots, who's a veteran, and Steve's that's a veteran, they've been able to like share their experiences and go through a lot of different growing pains with the players to help them. And that's not always talking about 2K. Whether it's being off the court, just having people in your corner that they can relate and help you in a lot of different situations. So, and it's just really been a great thing. I mean, even having, finally getting Doc in market. Doc is, Doc, he's solid. I mean, he don't sway too much. I mean, he do his own thing, but I just think having the right personalities is really clicking for us, right now. And it's something that we're going to be able to hang our hat on and build on for the rest of the year.
Now, we appreciate, again, every single person that's in the chat right now. Banana 15, Tropical City, I'm glad you asked, because here on your screen is this week's slate of games for NetsGC. Up first, obviously tomorrow, Wednesday, April 6th, tip-off slated for 8 p.m. Eastern against Grizz Gaming, and then a back-to-back is the very next night. NetsGC loads in once again, this time against the very familiar Hornets Venom GT at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Everything live on Twitch and YouTube and the official broadcast channel of the NBA 2K League. Now, to help us break it all down is the entire group of NetsGC. We've got Shots, Doc, Streets, Tate, and Steez. Gentlemen, welcome to the NetsGC pre-show. Appreciate you guys stopping by. How are we doing?
Doing good.
Perfect. Okay, so if you guys are just tuning in, again, whether it's on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, leave your questions in the chat. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible. I'll try my best to kind of steer our way through this. I want to start here with Shots. Obviously, reigning NBA 2K League Eastern Conference All-Star. There are not many firsts that you can kind of experience at this point in your career. Same goes for Steez. But this is your first time being able to run it back with a franchise in consecutive seasons. How is this moment leading up to the opener kind of different for you?
Great question.
I think we're having mic issues with Connor right now. Give me a second. Curt, what about you?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, something going on with his mic.
Okay, we'll do a quick audible. Connor, you want to try again? Nope. Perfect. I promise we checked this before the show. So let's do a quick audible. I'll actually go from one vet to another. Steez, little mic check for me.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Perfect. We'll kind of go to you as we kind of try and figure out what we can do with Shots, Mike. Let's go a different topic. I asked you, I don't know if you remember, I asked you almost a few weeks ago about how daunting of a task it can be to dive into the league build every single year. You've done it now for 5 straight years, just like Connor has. You described it as a little bit of a puzzle that you and the rest of the guys would have to put together. Tell us, now that you've had some time with it, how has that puzzle come along?
I think it's been coming along very well. You get what you put into this league build and to this season. And that's something I stress the fact on these rookies. Doc and Connor already knows, and our GM knows as well. But, good things come to those teams that put in the work. I don't think that we're the type of team that's going to be able to just lay down and not put in those extra hours and find a way to just all of a sudden win games on the weekend. So I know that this team's come prepared, and we definitely put in the work these past couple of weeks since we've been here in Brooklyn. I'm excited for the team that we put together, the group of guys that Curt put around me. And I think we're going to make a good run.
Most definitely. I kind of going to the rookies now. Streets and Tate. We'll start with Streets first. This was your first experience, Streets, going through this off-season process. What about it was, what you expected? And then at the same time, what was something you didn't expect?
One of the things I didn't expect was like since day one, we was all on the same page as far as like trying to get to know each other and just like trying to become a better team. Everybody understood that since the first day we got here, and that's something I did expect. I expected like we can't go off of scrums, but I expected to be good, like to be a perfect fit for this team and stuff like that. So that's really it.
Tate, what about you?
Me and Steve.
Wanted us to be good, but I didn't. I thought the league was just all 2K. Like I feel like this team's now family. Like we're a family. We do stuff off court, and like I feel like that's very good for teams.
For sure, for sure. I kind of want to just see if maybe we've got shots here. Shots, little mic check.
Check.
I don't think it's coming through.
You want me to switch? Okay.
Mic check, mic check. All right, we're gonna have to leave you guys hanging here. The suspense is killing me. Shots mic not currently working. We promised to have the comms good and ready to go for tomorrow, obviously, in the opener against Grizz Gaming. We'll go from one tenured player to another in Doc, previously known as Fayez. Doc, can you kind of like what prompted you to kind of go through the name change?
Yeah, so can you hear me first of all?
Yeah, you might need to turn your volume up just a little bit.
Turn it up. Like speak louder.
Yeah, here, let me see if I can get mic volume as well. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, is it coming kind of softly for you guys?
Is it better?
Yes, it is better.
Okay. Yeah, so one of the problems with the name I had last year is that everybody just kind of pronounced it differently. I mean that's probably partly my fault because I never really came out and like said how it's meant to be pronounced. But yeah, I mean it's a lot of people still called me Doc anyway, just because that's what they knew me by, from back in the day, like just over Xbox. So yeah, I just went through with it and ended up switching to Doc.
Okay, so before we, close the book, close the chapter, turn that page on, is it Fayez or Fayez? Can you like set the record straight for us all before we move on to Doc officially?
It's Fayez.
Okay, it's Fayez. So we're going to clip that. We're going to put that on social and then see how much engagement that gets for us. But now it's just Doc, the sniper, headed into season 5, your sophomore season. For those that don't know, explain to the chat, you played the first week of or so, maybe first week and a half of scrims in Toronto, in your home in Canada. How much of it was a change for you to kind of get to play in the facility, and talk about how that helped with your chemistry, particularly with Tate?
Yeah, no, it's definitely much nicer to be here in person. When we're here in person, obviously I'm sitting like right alongside my point guard. So it's definitely a lot easier, like communicating over Discord, not being able to see people. It's definitely not ideal. Like there were some situations playing remotely when it just felt like I was kind of like out of the loop, just because everyone else is here in person and I'm not. So yeah, it's definitely a lot nicer to be able to be here in person, and it makes communication a lot easier.
Yeah, I can imagine. Curt, we'll kind of loop it back to you here, and get you to unmute yourself. Can you talk a little bit about maybe your thoughts on this year's tournament format? Obviously, it's the first time that the NBA 2K League is moving towards strictly tournament play. There are no longer regular season games. There are no longer best of 2 or best of 3 sets. Talk about your thoughts and maybe how much more of an urgency this places on games right from rip.
Yeah, I'm one of those that literally, from a competitive standpoint, I've always liked uh, the one games. I like for every game to matter, every game to count. So I think for me, it's not unfamiliar territory. I mean, as a competitive mindset, you typically want to go in and focus on getting every game. It's not like, oh, we dropped the first game and then like let's get them the second game. Like, no. Now your game is at like tomorrow we play at 8:00. It's one game and one game only. So you have to come in and be prepared to take care of business. So I think it heightens the situation, but it makes for good competitive 2K at the end of the day. And you don't have a chance to slip up. Like you really have to come in focused from start to end and take care of business.
Yeah, definitely. Now we'll go back to Streets here. And then I guess I'll ask Steez a follow-up question because it's pertaining to both of you. But Streets and Steez, it's no secret that Brooklyn's offense, as high-powered as it was hampered at times, especially during very crucial moments of the game, by a leak of defense. This year, you two were brought in to specifically change that. As the leaders of that pick and roll D, talk a little bit about the chemistry that you two have been building. Streets, you can go first.
I feel like our defense good, but a part of that is before even we got dropped to the same team, we feel how we like to play. And then once we ended up on the same team, I just knew that like it was gonna be an easy transition compared to if I would like play with somebody I didn't know. So just having like that, like I already knew who Steve's was, and we both knew each other on that level to like be comfortable as soon as we get here. And then being roommates just make it easier. We watch games and we like go over our problems that we need to get out and stuff like that.
Steez, what about you?
Yeah, kind of just feeding off of what Sean said. He's right. We've known each other for a while, and going back to kind of what I said earlier, we put a team around us that doesn't play selfish, and we play for each other. And I think that's something that's also big with defense. I know what Sean likes. He knows what I like, and if we ever do have an issue in between that, we usually fill the gaps on where we need to fix our strategy on defense. Plus, also it's nice having a safety valve with shots behind us. And then also, underrated is Doc with his defense up top. That's going to be helping us. But I know what happened last year with NetsGC. And so Sean and I knew coming in this year that we were going to have to make an impact and make it a change and really change the culture and change the narrative ultimately about what this team's defense is really about. So I'm excited to kind of show that tomorrow.
Just kind of staying on this topic, and Steez, you can kind of pick up off this ASAP. But the backcourts that you guys will be facing this week. So with Grizz Gaming, you got that BPJ Money backcourt, I'm assuming, Hornets, King Hod, Glenn Ratty. Talk to us a little bit about how you're going to approach each matchup and maybe what makes those backcourts just a little bit different to prepare for.
Yeah, so going into this tournament, there's a lot of things that we haven't seen for a while. Like, for instance, BP was playing with Hawkstown last year and was more playing like shooting guard and switching up his position. J Money, we haven't really seen at shooting guard that much recently. And then for our next matchup, King Hod, who's a rookie. And then I think Glenn Ratty's playing shooting guard. So it's a lot of things that you haven't seen before. So like our GM said earlier, you got to come and give your best shot. And I think that's all we could really ask for out of this team. I know we play, I don't want to say we play every PG the same, but I think that we play every PG the same with like, we come in with the same mindset with like 100% intensity, 100% like we're not taking this lightly. And I think I like that about how Sean and I play defense. Even if we're going against, like the worst PG in the league or the best PG in the league, you're going to get the same kind of defense from us. And like I said, hopefully if, we play our game, we get enough stops for this team and then we could get some easy buckets on the other end.
Jeez, Steve, just kind of quick follow-up to that. Streets is making his NBA 2K League debut. You have done this more times than anyone can ever kind of dream of. Yeah. Are you, like, when it comes to that partnership and knowing that he's making his debut, Are there specific things you're looking for in real time, specifically with Streets? Are you kind of gauging his comms right off rip, like maybe his body language? And what's your job as a vet, or do you even have to do that with Streets?
No, Sean's the type where you kind of just you just unleash the beast out of the cage and just let him go crazy. I know what he's gonna do on defense, and I know it's always controlled chaos, which is nice. He doesn't get too out of hand. He plays his game, and that's all we ever ask from him. The one thing that I know is that, like, I know he's prepared for this moment, and he's earned this position in this league, and he's earned the right to say that he's an NBA 2K League player. So I know when tomorrow comes around, he's going to be ready for that moment, and I'm sure he's going to thrive.
Last question for you two as the pick and roll duo before we get to Shots himself. Streets, how does it kind of feel knowing that you have someone like Steez, guarding the back end of that PNR for you?
It's just, to me, it just make everything easier. Like I feel like me and him playing, like he said we play the same, but I feel like we play differently because it's like we know we playing against an aggressive point guard tomorrow, and I feel like that's what good our defense really is. And then when we play the Hornets, a team like the Hornets, we know like the BP, like they don't have BP, so we ain't got to worry about the aggressiveness necessarily. If you get what I'm saying, so yeah, I'm just ready. That's all I can say.
I love it. I love it. All right, headed to Connor here. We're gonna try again. Shots, little mic check between you and I.
You can hear me?
Yes. Appreciate you for hopping on the phone there. We knew we had to kind of give you just a couple moments here to answer a few questions. We'll throw it back to the very first one I had for you. And again, I know there are a few people here in the chat across all three of our video platforms. So again, if you have a question for Shots or anyone else on the team, please leave it in the chat. I don't know if they're going to be answering what type of builds that they're going to be using tomorrow. But again, leave your questions in the chat. Shots, back to you. We talked about how this is your first time running it back with the same team in consecutive seasons. Just talk a little bit about that feeling, and does it kind of make it fresh for you? Like, is it a little bit different? Is it a new vibe for you?
I would say, yeah, it still is. Like, even though I stayed this year on a team, it's still like every season's like way different than the previous one. And I'm learning that now because I guess this is the first time that I stayed with the team. So even though I'm back, like it's different. We have new people coming in, and no six man this year makes it a little different. So everything's just different than what it was last year. But that's every year. I think the league just moves fast and changes fast.
Yeah, exactly. I get that. I get that. Now, as important as the center position is in the NBA 2K League, equally as important is that point guard spot, especially because of the meta in the NBA 2K League. It's very heavy PNR driven. Your new partner in this pick and roll attack is none other than Tate, right? The young gun. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from him in the offseason, and how you kind of expect this chemistry to kind of evolve over time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything from retail really matters anymore in the league. It's such a different game and like a different experience. Just getting him comfortable is the main focus and the main goal. I think we've done a good job in the last 2 weeks. I think we still have a long way to go, but it's definitely improved, and I think our chemistry and just how smooth everything's running, like the pick and roll, it's getting better. Still got a long ways to go, but I didn't expect it, to be good right off rip anyway. It takes a lot of time, a lot of reps, and getting familiar with each other, and also got to see how the games go because those are different than scrims as well.
Exactly. And just to kind of answer your question, this is Bull. There are supposed to be games today. The NBA 2K League kicks off the tip-off. I think there's 10 games tonight. Unfortunately, NetsGC isn't on the schedule, but the team will be making its debut tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, against Grizz Gaming. Now, Tate, going to you. We talked a little bit about, Shots talked a little bit about what we can maybe expect in terms of your evolution. the last time you and I spoke, it was in private, and you talked a little bit about how you weren't even expecting to kind of get drafted this year. Now that we're less than 24 hours away from you making your debut, shed some insight on what's going through your mind and how you hope you perform tomorrow. Like, what are your expectations for yourself? What are you locked in on? Oh, looks like
good.
there you go. Nope, we're getting I think we're getting audio issues with Tate now. So we're just tapping Curt out and then we're tapping Tate back in. Unfortunately, we're not able to hear him. We'll see if we can kind of get that fixed. Let me try something here on this end. Yeah, bleep bloop indeed. Go ahead, Tate, try again. No, nothing. All right, that's okay. We're just sometimes the game plan just doesn't go exactly like how you plan it, but you have to be able to pivot, and pivot is what we'll do. We'll actually go from the, one person in the backcourt to the other, and this time we'll go back to Doc. Doc, going to you. We talked about how Shots needs to kind of develop a little bit, a lot of chemistry with Tate as his point guard, but you being his backcourt partner, talk a little bit about how important that chemistry is for you as well. So in order for you to succeed, Tate has to kind of, deal with that learning curve and kind of learn quickly.
Yeah. Getting to play with Connor for the second straight year is definitely pretty nice. I mean, in my opinion, he's the ideal center that any guard would want, to like make your job as easy as possible to score. Having played with him already for a year, I think there are some things that we know about each other that are unspoken now, like just like positioning off the press and stuff like that. So the chemistry between us is there. I think the chemistry between myself and Tate is forming. It's getting better. We're seeing improvements every day, I feel like, in practice. Yeah, so I mean, I'm hopeful that our offense can get back to where it was last year. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and then it's we kind of talked a little bit about this with Curt. It's still very early in the season, but with how the new format is, it's almost like there isn't enough time to kind of really get that chemistry going, or there's not enough games to kind of go through that feel out process. Curt, looping back to you, maybe just one more question before we get final thoughts from the entire team. Again, there's a couple people in the chat. Not sure if anyone has any other questions, but going into this week, what do you hope the team kind of gets out of it? I know obviously in the perfect world, you and the rest of the squad would love to kind of go 2-0, but when talking about like auxiliary and secondary goals and objectives, what do you hope the team gets out of week 1 of the tip-off?
No, I think it's something that we're going to look to build on. I mean, we know what we're capable of when we're all on the same page and clicking, and the game is rocking with us from time to time. But I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I think we have high expectations over here. I mean, and I think we only care about what we think. Like we don't care about what anybody else thinks or any other opinions outside of NetsGC. So I think with that being said, we have high hopes over here. We have a standard that we want to live up to each and every night out that we play, even from the time that we walk in here for practice. We come in with a mindset and we leave with my mindset, getting ready and gearing up for the next day. So for us, we planned on making a trip to Indy and ultimately trying to bring home, the first banner for NetsGC. I mean, I think anything less than that, we won't be satisfied. So I think for us, it's to play how we know we're capable of playing and building on each and every experience and, continue to be competitive. And like I said, bring home a banner for NetsGC.
All right. Well, there you have it. This was our very first NetsGC pre-show. We apologize for some of the technical difficulties we came across there. A little bit unexpected, but we appreciate you guys for rocking with us throughout this 30-minute show. Whether you're watching on, again, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, make sure you're subscribing or following us on all social platforms. That includes Twitter and Instagram. Opening night of the tip-off begins tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, live on the 2K League's broadcast on Twitch or YouTube. We'll leave you all with a segment from our latest episode of Crew Access, with the full episode 5 now actually on YouTube. So make sure you guys check that out afterwards. But on behalf of the entire NetsGC team and staff, my name is Christian Charisma. We'll talk next time, and let the games begin.
Even before I came here, I knew I was gonna fit in well with Shots and Steve, just from like, I'm not a dumb player, so I feel like I can fit in anywhere. And then once we started playing, even from day one, Steve just made me like feel comfortable. Like, he made it to where everything is easy on my end.
Okay, yeah, say, let me go through. Corner switch. We gotta let Mike get used to it anyways. Oh. Yeah.
As far as Doc, he just make everything, he make it easier for me to play my own game.